Howdy folks, how y'all doing? Cup here, and welcome to my guide to Tinker's Construct. So if you don't know what this mod is, maybe you just hopped into a new mod pack like Hexit or Attack of the B Team, and you just kind of saw it and you're like, I wonder how this works. Well, welcome to the video. Maybe you do know what it is and you're just trying to figure it out. Well, welcome anyway. We're going to go through kind of the basics. Let me first explain the mod for those of you who are kind of confused about what it is. Its main purpose is to give you the ability to build really awesome tools. Okay, now there are other things in the mod as well, but that's kind of like the main purpose, is to build really cool tools out of different materials, and then you can not necessarily enchant them, but you can enhance them by adding different modifiers. And it's pretty much the same enchantments that you could get, only instead of enchanting the tools, you modify them with stuff. It's really cool. It gives you more control over what gets added to your tool, and it's a lot of fun, especially to just play around with, okay? So when you first log into a new world with Tinker's Construct installed, you're going to get this book. It's called Materials and You. This is important. This book is going to explain everything you need to know about the mod, and if you know how to read it, you actually don't even need a tutorial. You can kind of figure it out as you go, but this mod is kind of complicated on the surface, especially if you've never used it before, and it's really simple once you get into it, but I know that if you've never used it before, it can seem kind of daunting. So we're actually going to go through the book together. So log into Minecraft, get your book out, let's start reading, and we're going to figure this thing out as a team. This is a team effort. I already know what I'm doing, but I'm going to pretend like I'm learning for your sake. So, very front page, very simple. You're like, okay, yeah, this is going to be great. Second page, wall of text. Oh my gosh, I'm confused. Skip all of this over here. It just tells you that this is a magic book that updates as you go, which we'll talk about later. Right now, we need to focus right over here. These are your instructions for beginning this mod. The first step in making a tool, or making tools, is crafting a blank pattern. It is a blank slate to stamp a shape into, providing a reference for future creations. The patterns are shaped on the stencil table or are used as tabletops. You can then shape a material in a part builder with the pattern, then combine parts in a tool station. Patterns can be stored and accessed in the pattern chests. Together these make the tool workshop. It is recommended you keep all of these nearby when using any of them. What the heck did any of that mean? I know what it meant because I've used the mod before, but if this is your first time, you're just like, okay, wall of text, I don't get it. Don't worry about it, okay? We're going to walk through it, okay? The very first thing that says here, though, the first step in making tools is crafting a blank pattern. That's important. That's what we're going to do. Skip to the next page, and it'll show you how to make a blank pattern. And look at that. It's actually really easy. It's just wood and sticks, wooden planks and sticks. And then all the other things that we're going to need to get started, like the stencil table, the part crafter, the pattern chest, not necessary but useful, and the tool station are pretty much just going to use blocks and patterns. Or yeah, so that's pretty. Now there's a tool forge. We'll get to that later. It's a little bit more. That's a little further down the road. Right now, let's focus on the absolute basics. Let's get this blank pattern built. Look at that. I happen to have a crafting table here. Let's grab some oak planks because, you know, they're right there and they're easy to get. Doesn't matter which planks you use. You can even use modded wood if you want to. But for this sake, we're just going to go ahead and grab the vanilla sticks and vanilla planks. Make 8 of these. You don't need 8. I think to start off, you only need 4. So let's grab the 4. And the first thing you're going to want to do is put a single plank right there, and that'll give us our stencil table. Yay! And look at that, we got our second book. We got Materials and You Part 2. Awesome, look at that. We're advancing through this mod pretty quick. We're already on book 2 of 4, I think. Alright, next up, the part builder, and that's just, again, a blank pattern and some oak wood. And it, again, doesn't matter so long as you use wood. For instance, you could grab some spruce wood if you wanted to, and it would still work. It does change the color of the legs, and I forgot all about that. You can actually change what these things look like based on which blocks of wood you use. We're just going to go ahead and use vanilla because we're vanilla people. Alright, make a crafting table. Throw that under a blank pattern to give us the tool station. Now these are pretty much the only 3 things you need to get started. I'm going to show you one more that I think is important because it's useful. Chest, blank pattern, pattern chest. Okay, again, not necessary, really handy to have on you though, and I'll show you why, okay? It doesn't matter what order you put these in, you don't even have to put them next to each other. I like to though, and I like to start with the stencil table. And then next to that, I'm going to put the pattern chest, and then the part builder, and then at the very end here, let's clear out some of this grass. Boom, we're going to put this guy, and that's the tool station. So let's start all the way on the end here, the very end. In order to build any kind of anything in this game, you're going to have to have patterns. Let's clear this away so we see what we're doing. And the stencil table is where you make your patterns. Okay, so we take a blank pattern and just put it in the stencil table, and voila! All we gotta do is click on that, and we'll have our first tool rod pattern. Okay. Now let's say Boom, I made a tool rod pattern. I want to make another pattern. I want to make what? What do I do? Just click next pattern, and you can just cycle through and grab them all. If you're just starting, I would actually recommend you go ahead and make a whole bunch of blink patterns, and I do mean a whole bunch. So let's grab as many sticks as we can get, and then we'll hop back in here, and we will grab another stack of wood. And we're going to go ahead and make all the patterns right now. And why would we do that? Well, we're going to have to need them all anyway. Might as well get them out of the way now. And so let's see. Again, clear that away. We already got the tool rod. Go ahead and grab that one, and that one, and that one. Alright, so we've cycled all the way back around. We have all of these. It took a little while, but it was time well spent. Let's grab the rest of our blank patterns. Now, what are we going to do with these? Where are we going to store them? We can't carry them around with us at all times. We could throw them in a regular chest if we wanted to, and just, open up the chest and then move over here to the part builder, which is where we're going to use them. But, look at this. The part builder actually has a pattern chest space over here to store them in. Well, what is that? Well, that is the pattern chest that we just built, okay? That's why this thing is useful. You can store all of your patterns in here, and so long as it is set up to where it is touching this guy here, you can access them. Alright, that is great. That is, I cannot begin to explain to you how much time that will save you. Because when you're in the middle of trying to build something, you don't want to have to, get off. Okay, go over here, and okay, I got the pattern, and put it in here, and then put it back. Just having the pattern chest next to the part builder, you can just grab them, you can build the part that you need, put it back, you're good to go. Okay, so let's move on and make some more stuff here. We've already looked at the stencil table, we've looked at the pattern chest. Let's look at the part builder. Let's actually build a part. Let's say we want to build a tool. We're anxious, we're ready to get started in this mod. We don't care how good the tool is, we just want to make sure we know what we're doing. Let's grab some cobblestone. We'll build a cobblestone tool. That's a pretty basic tool. So open this thing back up and let's see. I don't even know what to do. What's involved in making, let's say, a cobblestone shovel? Ooh. Well, we know it's going to need a shovel head, and we made one of those right down here, but what else is it going to need? Well, there's two ways to find out. First off, and probably the easiest, is you can go over here to your tool station, click on shovel, and it'll show you need a shovel head and a handle. And handle is usually going to be a tool rod. Alright, that's one way to do it, or if you already have your second book, which you should, after you build these guys here, you'll automatically be given your second book. You can open that up, Materials New, Volume 2. You can actually just scroll through the pages, and it'll show you a detailed description of what each tool requires and what it does. And so we see the shovel is going to be a shovel head and a tool rod. So those are the two ways to look up what parts you need. There's a third way that's called Google, but you have to get out of the game to do that. But, hey, no judging. If that's what you want to do, go for it. Let's throw our shovel head pattern in there. And this is where you're going to put your pattern, right there, on the left side. And on the right side, you're going to put your material. Now, I know it looks like, okay, cobblestone's a block, it should go down here. And you can do that, but you can also just put it up here. It really doesn't matter where you put it. And if we look here, you'll see this has a material cost of 1. That means it's going to take a whole piece of cobblestone to create this stone shovel head. Why is that important? Well, we put that up and we go over here and grab the tool rod pattern. We see it has a material cost of 0.5. That means it only needs half of a piece of cobblestone. What's a half of cobblestone look like? Well, looks like this. This is a stone shard. So as you see, it made our tool rod, and then it gave us some leftover bits here. We can either hold on to these till later, or we can use them to create another stone rod, which we're not going to, because we don't need one. Okay, so there. We've used the stencil table to make patterns. We put them in the pattern chest. We made parts with the stencils in the part builder. Now it's time to throw these guys together, and I'm hitting the wrong buttons. There we go. In the tool station, and see what we get. Now, this is kind of complicated. You can just start throwing things in here until you get, a tool. Or, the easy thing to do, just click on the tool you're trying to build. It'll lay out where the parts go specifically. Look at that. You can go ahead and make your shovel. Now, this is important. If you want to name your tool, you can actually do it right here inside this mod, inside the tool station. I don't think it uses any levels, but you've got to do it the second you make your tool. So let's name it Bob. It's important that you do it right now. There you go, we got Bob. Because if you try to go back and change it, or maybe you didn't name it and you try to go back and add a name, you can put whatever you want to in there, but it's not going to stick, okay? So make sure you do that the second you build your tool. So we now have Bob the shovel, and Bob the shovel is pretty useful. I mean, look at him. He can dig. You can't ask much more out of Bob. But what if you want to make this tool better? And that is what you can do in this mod. We just use materials to build this guy, and we'll talk more about why the material you use is important here in a little bit. Right now, we're just going to focus on modifiers. We can modify this little guy here to be faster, stronger, have more durability. We're actually going to, if we open up materials new here, And we scroll through. Here we go. This is where it tells us what materials, or why materials are important. Not what we're looking at, though. We're trying to find, here we go. This is the modifier section of the book. This will tell you what each of the different modifiers do. So let's look through those real quick. Let's say we wanted to add a diamond to Bob here. What would that do? Well, that would increase our mining level to 3. And that means we'd be able to dig up different things. That's more useful. For your pickaxe, I think a mining level of 3 allows you to mine diamonds. I think 1 is iron, mining level of 2 is redstone, and mining level 3 is diamond. I could be absolutely wrong on that, but I think that's what it is. So that's good for pickaxe, not really important for our shovel. What's really important, though, is it gives us 500 extra durability, so we can use the tool longer before it breaks. And also, that's something else you should know. You see my tool took damage? It will eventually run down to 0, but it will not shatter into a million pieces. When you run it all the way down, it just stops working, and you can bring it back and repair it. And actually, since we have a stone tool here, if we wanted to repair it, we could just throw it in here, along with that shard. And look at that. Good as new. And what you use to repair the tool is based off what the head is made out of. So in this case, Bob has a stone head, so we use stone to repair him. If you use something different as the head, like iron, you would use iron to repair it. So that's pretty basic. Skip back forward here until we get to, here we go. Next up is emerald, which adds 50% more durability, and a mining level increases to 2. So the advantage here is if your tool has less than 500 durability, you want to go ahead and add this guy here, because that'll give you 500 extra. However, if it has more, you'd be better off doing the 50% more and using an emerald. But that's up to your... Of course, you could use both. You can add up to 3 modifiers on a basic tool, and then if you use different materials on your tool, you get more modifiers. But generally, it's 3. We'll talk more about how to get more modifiers later. But you could add diamond and an emerald, and then some redstone. And redstone is the one we're looking for right now. Adding redstone to a tool seems to increase its mining speed. So each redstone does increases the mining speed by 0.08. At 50/50, the boost is 4.0, making a wood pickaxe equivalent in speed to iron. Not useful on weapons. Okay, thank you for that. But this is important. You see right there at 50/50. That means, you see these two guys, it takes 1 diamond, 1 emerald. This guy here, you could use a single piece of redstone, or you can use up to 50 pieces of redstone to increase it by 0.08 each time you add a piece of redstone. You can also, if you want to, add a block to speed that up. Otherwise, well, you know what? Let me show you. That's what tutorials are for. Let's get some redstone. Didn't mean to do that. So we'll go ahead and get a block of redstone, and we'll get some redstone pieces. We're going to throw those in here along with Bob. Alright, and as you can see, we just added 1 piece of haste to this guy. And you can continue to add pieces of haste individually, or you can throw in your block of redstone up here. And that makes things go by much, much faster. And we want to top it out at 50, so we'll just add that 1 last piece, and there we go, we're good to go. Bob now has haste on. Let's see how much faster he digs. Oh, wow, so that is a pretty good improvement there. And as you can see, it was really easy to do that. We didn't have to build this elaborate enchanting table and surround it with books and hope and pray that what we got was haste. Nope, it's just right there. We did it real easy. It was kind of expensive, you know, it took quite a bit of redstone, but if you've been playing the game for a little while and you already have all these things at hand, you can it's not too bad. Alright, so after redstone, we have auto repair, we have auto smelt, and we've got luck, which is really useful if you want to double what you're mining. You got luck. Sharpness is good for weapons, so is fiery. Necrotic, which heals players every time a monster is attacked, so that's pretty useful. Silky, which is just silky touch. Reinforce, which adds material trait reinforced to the tool. Stacks with previous levels of reinforced. So adding an obsidian plate to the tool seems to help with its durability. So there you go. Basically just more durability. Knockback, which is a fun one. You just add a piston and it knocks them back when you hit them. And you can attach this to anything. Let's say you're mining and something creeps up behind you and you turn around and you're like, oh my gosh. And the sword is in your inventory for whatever reason. You don't have to go in there and find that. Sorry, let me just turn off the rain there. That's really annoying. Instead, you can just put knockback on your pickaxe, knock them back, and then switch over to your sword and then attack. So that's pretty good. That's pretty useful. And I think that's all of them after knockback. I could be wrong though. Let's fly through here again to knockback. No, okay, yeah, beheading. Oh, this is cool. So if you kill a zombie with beheading, you have a better chance to get their head. Okay, Bane of Arthropods does more damage to spiders. Smite does extra damage to the undead. Flux, adding a hardened flux capacitor. or lead stone energy cell gives the tool energy. Now this is going to require a mod that actually has those things in it, and we don't have that installed, but certain mod packs will have that. Additional modifiers, okay? So if you working with a tool with a block of gold and a diamond makes the tool more malleable, allowing for more modification. So this adds an additional modifier slot to the tool. That's pretty useful if you want to add more than just the standard 3 modifiers. This will again give you more additional modifiers. You can find one of these nice nether stars. And that's it. There are actually other ways to get more modifiers too. For instance, paper. If you used a paper binding in like a tool pickaxe, you would get more modifier options. Alrighty folks, so we've already looked at how to build tools and how to modify them. Now let's go back a couple of steps and look at what kind of materials we have to build with, because this is really important. What you build your tool out of is going to create sort of the base that you can apply modifiers to, and the better the base, the more effect the modifiers will have. So if we open up our second book here, we will look in the table of contents. We already looked at tools a little bit. We've looked at modifiers. Let's skip through to materials. And there are a lot of cool tools you can use. We'll look at all of them in due time. For right now, let's just get over to material and material traits. So some materials have traits that augment their natural uses. So we got reinforced, stonebound, jagged, and writable are our different traits. Reinforced has a 10% chance per level of not using durability. Pretty useful. Stonebound is what you're going to want to use on things like pickaxes, regular axes, shovels. What it does is the tool mines faster as it wears out, but does less damage, which is perfect because we're mining with it, not doing damage. Jagged is the exact opposite. The tool attacks with does more damage, and that's how it's written, as it wears out, but mines slower. We're never going to mine with a sword, so that's good. That'll be great. Writable gives you 1 extra modifier per piece. Now, what does this mean? If you go over to paper, where is paper? Did I just fly past it? Maybe it's further. There we go. Paper has the material trait writable, and that gives us an extra modifier. So if we build something in our tool out of paper, we'll actually have another modifier slot to add more things. Like, let's say we want to add luck to a tool that already has 3 other modifiers. Well, now we have 4. We can do that. Awesome. However, it has some trade-offs. So if we look up here, we see it has a very poor durability, very poor mining speed. It has no mining level whatsoever. And actually, let me go ahead and correct myself. Earlier I said that I thought a mining level of 3 was diamond. It's obsidian. My mistake. We got that fixed though. And mining level 2 is redstone. Mining level 1 is iron. Very, very sorry about the confusion. Okay. So if we hop over here, we'll see that stone has stonebound. And it has a pretty decent mining speed of 4. Has a durability of 131. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. A mining level of 1, so we can mine iron with it. Now, if we look at iron, though, a metal, it's obviously going to have some better specs. It has a mining speed of 6 versus 4. It has a mining level of 2 versus 1, and it has a base attack, if we wanted to use it as a weapon, of 1 versus just half. And it has reinforced instead of stonebound. So you can kind of see there's kind of pros and cons to using different materials. First off, biggest pro, you can just use the stone at the start of the game. You can just grab it, build a tool real quick. Iron requires a smeltery. Okay, and we're going to have to do that a little bit later. That's going to come later. Pretty much any metal you want to build anything out of. Get up here to alumite, cobalt, ardite. You're going to have to use a smeltery to get these guys. We're not looking at smeltery right now. We're looking at the very basic tools that you can use just using this setup here. In fact, let's go ahead and build one. Let's do some research here and decide what we're going to build. Let's build a pickaxe. Okay, pickaxe is going to need a pickaxe head, a tool rod, and a tool binding. All right, so without using a smeltery, without using any metal, just using these guys that we've already built, what can we build? Extreme basic, but also really useful tools. So we're going to build a pickaxe. Let's pick our materials real quick. Let's say we want to build... Flint is a good one. Flint is more durable than stone, the material of choice for cavemen. Yeah. And let's see, what are the advantages here? So it has a faster mining speed, has the same mining level, but a higher base attack. It does not have the stonebound trait. So if you want the stonebound trait, which is, again, stonebound, the tool mines faster as it wears out, but does less damage, you're going to want to go with stone. That's its advantage. Flint doesn't have that. I'm not too worried about that, though, because I'm going to keep my tool repaired. I'm not going to be going around with like a damaged tool a lot. See other differences. It has higher durability, has higher handle modifier. It's just a better overall tool. We're definitely going to use some flint in this guy, and it just depends on where we use it. Alrighty guys, I think I decided what we're going to use, okay? So let's grab some paper. We're just going to get some paper there. Some obsidian. and some cobblestone. Okay, now let's head over to the part builder. I'll kind of walk you through why I chose these parts in particular. We're going to make a binding, which we have to have for a pickaxe out of paper. Paper binding, voila. Okay, and we're going to build the head of the tool out of a pickaxe. Yay, look at that, it's purple, it's pretty awesome. And then we're going to build the tool rod out of just plain old, wait, no, stop. No, I changed my mind. I wanted to use flint. Alright. Whew, that could have been awful. Okay, so we've got our 3 parts. Let's take them over here to the tool station. Pickaxe, we're going to put in the obsidian head, the paper binding, the flint tool. Boom, pickaxe, it's writable, and has a reinforced 3. So right off the bat, we already have reinforced 3 on this guy. Why is that? Well, it's because we picked some tools that had some of those traits, or we picked some materials that already had some of those traits inherent in them from the beginning, okay? So we got writable, and we got reinforced. So what items did we have that added those abilities to this tool? Well, we used flint, which didn't add anything except for the overall durability. It added some durability to our guy. We used obsidian, which had reinforced level 3, and that's where we got our reinforcement 3. And it also has, the reason I use this for the head is because it has a mining level of 3, so that's going to be really useful. Alright, and then we also used paper, which has our modifier, our writable. So without adding any modifiers to this thing, by just using the materials that we chose, we already have reinforcement 3 and writable on the tool. Alright, so let's throw this thing back in here, and unfortunately we forgot to name it, darn it. You can see we have 4 modifiers remaining. Why is that? Well, it's because we went ahead and used our paper binding and gave us an extra modifier. We have a durability of 62, a mining speed of 7, which is pretty great. I mean, come on, let's just give this a test here. Yeah, look at that. Not the fastest thing in the world, but we can definitely make it faster if we wanted to. And in fact, let's do that. Let's go ahead and say we want to make this thing fast. We'll use redstone as one of our modifiers. Look at that. And so we need to add 5 more pieces to that. Excellent. All right, so we used redstone. Now we want to make this thing lucky too, right? So let's add some luck via lapis. And again, as you can see, I'm not using any metals for this tool. We're creating a really awesome tool. I didn't mean to get infinite. We're making a really awesome tool without having to use the forge, which is cool. You know, we're definitely going to go back and use it. I'm going to show you guys how to do that later. But just so you can see, kind of right off the bat, you can still do a lot of really cool stuff without having to get really complicated with it. Okay, now what else can we do to this guy? Let's throw on a diamond. Diamonds are cool. Diamond will give us a bit more durability, which is good if we're going to go on a really long mining spree. We want this sucker to last and last. And look at that. We just went from 59 to 559. We still have another modifier left. What are we going to add on there? Let's say we want to go ahead and smelt things as we get them. That's a pretty useful one. And actually, that's not really going to be as useful once we build a smeltery. But for the sake of this, we're going to go ahead and do that. And in order to do that, we're going to have to fly through here. What do we add to the tool to get smeltery? Auto smelt. We're going to have one of those little fire charged fellas, which is created using, oh goodness. Oh goodness, so you're going to have to, it's definitely not something you're just going to have on you. You could do a ball of moss, that would probably be a little bit easier. But no, we're going for all out coolness here, so we're going to need some of these guys, and some lava, okay? Lava, boom. Oh, we can just grab a lava crystal too if we don't want to go to the effort of building it, we'll just do that. Cheaty, extremely, but then again, this isn't a legit game, this is a tutorial. Boom! So look at everything we now have on this incredibly awesome pickaxe. Oh my gosh, I want to try this thing out. Let's go do some mining here. And we'll use Bob. We'll just dig down to dirt level real quick. There we go. And look at that. Hey, look, we just found something. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Look at that. We just... Okay. So by breaking... With all the different things that we've added to this, we just broke a single piece of aluminum and got 4 aluminum ingots that are already fired up for us. That is incredibly amazing. Okay. This is an amazing tool. Look how quick it's mining. Pretty much as quick as you can get it without changing what we used to build it. You know, you can... We've altered all the modifiers we can, but you can definitely change the different materials you used. Look at that. 19 pieces of iron. Absolutely incredible. Now, this tool was super expensive, super ridiculously expensive. In fact, if we head back over here and look at it, it's probably not going to be something you can build early game, okay? Let's throw it in here. We can look at it. We added 50 pieces of redstone, 450 pieces of lapis, diamond, and lava. We've added a lot of stuff to this tool. And you're probably thinking, well, I'm not going to be able to build that early game. You can pair it with some obsidian. You bet you're not. But you know what? This is just an example of what you can do in this mod. You can build some really cool tools. And I highly recommend you guys, if you're not already following this along at home, open up your Minecraft, get to cracking, put yourself in creative. I know you really want to do this in your survival world, but you can learn a lot by just jumping in creative and playing around with it. I mean, this thing is amazing. And we didn't even have to use a smeltery. We just built something really cool without a smeltery. But let's say you did want to use the smeltery, which is really cool. You can build even better weapons like that. And we're going to talk about that in the next episode. This has been Tinker's Construct, or my basics guide to Tinker's Construct. Hope you guys have liked it. I will see y'all in the next episode where we talk about the smeltery. Bye!